Welcome back, everybody, to Rob's MetalWorks. We are here tonight once again on the Friday night at the home studio to welcome some of the best metal bands our great state has to offer. And once again, we are tapping the brutality of the Austin music metal scene. Brings me great pleasure to welcome Matt and Chris of the band Stitched Up. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
It's good to be on, Rob.
How's it going, man?
Good to have you guys finally on the program. We're going to talk about our misstep a few years ago in a bit, but great to have you here. I'm glad that I'm here to support your new music that just dropped. But tonight, there's people across the state and the country who watch our show. So for those people not from the vicinity, let's talk a little bit about the beginnings of Stitched Up. You guys are vets. We've been talking before we started rolling. You guys have lots of experience in what you do. So share a little bit about your background in the music scene and what you guys have done.
Well, you're older than me, so.
Rub it in.
You have a longer history. Man, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm from Austin. I've been there my whole life, and I've been playing music since I was like a teenager, I guess, Got a little more serious about it in my 20s, and I formed a band called Kinetic. We played mostly in Texas, but we were a 5-piece and played for about, 4 or 5 years or so before disbanding, but I kind of cut my teeth and got my stage legs.
Was it like a real metal band?
It wasn't. It had metal elements to it. Yeah, it was. There was a Tool influence to it going on. This was around 2005 through 9 or so.
Yeah.
And but yeah, definitely. A lot of that. It was more melodic.
Nothing wrong with that.
Two guitar players,
Yeah.
So, but that was basically where I got my start with playing live, and took a 7-year break. Before kicking this thing off, and about that time I met Chris.
And met him on Long Beach. Well, I was originally from Corpus Christi. Born in San Antonio, but raised in Corpus all my life. I started off as just a lead singer, dibble-dabbled in instruments here and there. My first main band was called Leviathan from Corpus Christi. More of a thrashy, filthy music. We used to play with people like Shattered Sun or Killamora back in Corpus. And I think that was from like late 2007, underground-wise, because we were just playing in our bedroom. And then 2008, 9, 10-ish, we were just playing mostly South Texas stuff. And then that's when I took my break and disappeared, and I was just doing local open mics on the streets, playing just as space jockey, just playing with random musicians here and there. And then me and him met up on Craigslist.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So had you kind of moved to Austin when you had done that?
So when I moved to Austin, my older brother, he told me if you're going to move anywhere, move to Austin. And I was like, I had no idea about Austin, and moved to Austin.
Whoosh.
And hit him up. I was homeless at the time. Hit him up through a Craigslist ad. He replied and told me to go try out. And he's like, do you have a microphone or amp and all that stuff? All my equipment was in the pawn shop at the time, so I went to Target, got me like a $9 microphone. Went over to one of our old drummers, who wasn't in Stitched Up, but he was like pre-Stitched Up era, Jimmy Wallace, really good guy. Went over there where I practiced with them at a big drug dealer's house, and he was like, well, we got this 15-watt guitar practice amp. And I was like, all right. So he
plug
couldn't
into that.
Yeah, and they couldn't even understand what I was saying, but it looked, I guess, cool. So we just continued from then on, and he couldn't hear me probably for like 3 or 4 months until we finally got into a practice room together. And he's like, sounds pretty good.
Were you singing at that time too, Matt?
No. I really sang in my last band when we first started, but it didn't really take. We ended up playing a show, and this guy came in and did an open mic night and just kind of blew me away. His name was Lewis Sanders, and we ended up getting him he was actually living in his car when I met him. Same story, moved to Austin, all this. But he ended up moving in with us. We had a band house, and he was our singer. But, so I couldn't hear him very well during our first couple of rehearsals, but I could tell what he was up to, and I kind of got with him on his writing style and stuck with it for a while. I knew he had something, man. Like, I could tell he had, he had that front man thing. Yeah, he definitely. And then once we got into the rehearsal space, and I could actually hear what he was doing better, I was actually pretty blown away.
Yeah.
And I was like, I knew, that
He was love. The guy. It was love at first sight.
He was the guy.
But
so
yeah.
when would y'all say was like the start date for Stitched Up? The official start
2017.
Date?
Yeah.
Check our EPK, right? Matt. No, it's 2016. It's 2017.
2017.
Well, it's 2016, but with the drummer that we recorded our first album with, it would have been 2017-ish. Yeah.
So is that the guy that we were talking about off camera, Alan?
Yeah, Alan Cole, good guy. So the reason why I picked up bass guitar for the band was at the time I was just a singer, and he wasn't able to make rehearsal that one night, and it was just me and our drummer Alan at the time, and I was just screwing around with the bass, and he's like, man, just you be the bass player. I was like, I can't do bass and sing at the same time. He's like, just do it. I don't want to get along with another asshole in the band.
Right.
And I was like, well, fuck it. And then
so on that note, let's just share with everybody, you guys are a 3-piece band.
Yes.
I've always kind of been a 3-piece band. Yeah, so that's cool.
So that's how that sound started to develop as a 3-piece, because I never thought I was going to play bass. People always said, you look like a bass player. I'm like, I kind of feel offended. But now I'm a bass player. But
bass player singer.
I thought it was better looking, man. But yeah, I'm the bass player singer, and Matt's the other singer guitar player.
And that's cool that you say that, and I'm glad that you say that, because even tonight, I've been jamming to your new CD for a few weeks now, and I could hear the different vocal styles, but I didn't know if it was just all Matt. I didn't know that you sang too. So, I didn't know if it was 2 singers or 1, because I know some singers can throw different voices out.
Yeah, well, I told him, I was like, you got some good vocals, man. You should do some backups. He's like, oh no, man. And
yeah, I wasn't into it. I mean, I've always wanted to be able to sing,
Yeah.
Frontmans are cool, and I always admired them and whatnot. And I like to write lyrics, but he actually pushed me to sing and kind of helped break me of my insecurity of singing, I guess, if you will, you know what I mean? And got me where I am today.
Got me doing it.
Vocals,
yeah.
Such a beautiful voice.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool. It sounds heavy, and obviously, if you have 2 singers, it provides a more of a diversity into what you can deliver musically.
Yes.
and what you're doing. So that's pretty cool, man. And now, I mean, as we sit here. In 2022, seems like a lot of great things are happening for the band. We're going to talk about your latest release tonight, Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult. But there was another release before this one, right?
Yes, that was the album 86 with our first drummer, Alan.
Yep.
Which he played on. And that was a wild album.
When did that come out?
2018, right?
Okay.
Early 2018.
It was May, yeah.
May. It's gonna be May. But yeah, I mean, that album had like a strong theme of us, everybody in the band we're all in and out of jail, and
Oh, it was a crazy time.
yeah. I mean, that's when I was struggling with sobriety, and it was just everybody in the band. And
Yeah.
we were like, all right, so and so is not here for practice. Let's check the records. Well,
Now we know where he's at.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need to get into that, and I appreciate you guys, sharing with me in private about, some of the struggles, personal struggles and stuff.
All of our music is just straight up honest.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, people will listen to it like, David Carradine, what's that about? And then, and I tell them like, oh man, I feel depressed now. No, but it's cool, right?
It's about choking bitches. That's what it's about.
Yeah. See?
Yeah. Come on. You guys didn't tell me that either. I know about David Carradine, that crazy fucker.
And then I tell them about the other part of it. Oh, now you made me depressed. No, this Necromantis has a lot of choking.
Yeah.
All kinds of people's.
So the first, how many songs did the first release have?
Oh, the first release?
Yeah.
8 songs.
8 songs.
This was meant to be 8. It started off as an EP, build up to 8. We had the whole pandemic, which delayed everything, and he kept on writing awesome riffs.
Sure.
And I was like, these songs need to be on the album. And, he just lets them flow out through his beautiful hair. Hey, don't you be slamming the table. You know who I am? No, you don't. Nah.
So, So, that one came out, and did you guys supported it for a little while? Were you kind of happy with how it came out at that time?
Well, yeah. I mean, we were pretty stoked. We were also, broke at the time, so we didn't really get to push it as hard as we'd like to have pushed it.
Or recorded as well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it was the guy that recorded it for us, Rob Hinton, Mesa Studios. He did an amazing job, actually. I mean, he did everything that we asked him to do. Despite our own shortcomings or what have you. But I mean, we did it on a budget, super quick. Like 44 and a half hours over a weekend, like very little sleep.
Yeah.
Just cranked it out. We needed to get material out there, and we were excited about it. It was the first stuff that we'd written as a group, and so but it got us to where we are. And we're still proud of it, and
For sure. I mean, it's kind of like your initial step into the Austin metal scene, and I've been supporting bands from the Austin metal scene, and I used to go to Austin. I still do, but back in the day, I used to go more to Austin than back in the Dirty Dog days and Flamingo Cantina days and stuff. So Flamingo Cantina is not there anymore, right?
Is it?
It's not there anymore, right? Flamingo Cantina.
It's still there. It's still.
Oh, really?
It's still rocking out with reggae and punk.
Okay, yeah. Back then, I remember it was like a metal place. So I mean, I know when you want to put your best foot forward out into a really, competitive and scene like that, it can be like a, you want to do a good job. You don't want to be out there and really not put your best foot forward. So that's cool, man. That's good because Austin's a tough place, man. I don't know why your brother told you to move there. You should have moved to San Antonio.
I mean, my roommates were like, and my former bandmates, that was our thing. We were going to try to move to Austin together. And then they stayed in Corpus, and my guitar player came with me, and then he ended up moving to Colorado.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Austin's tough, man. It's expensive, too, man, to live in Austin. And the congestion, it drives me crazy sometimes when I have to go up there. But that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah. So now we are 5 years past the debut, and I was when Matt sent me the new record, I was so happy that I really had a chance to kind of spin it. So thank you, Matt, for sending me the tracks, and I really kind of heard it right away, and I was like, oh man, this is pretty cool. And one of the things that I always kind of look for, or the kind of the songs and the production, and then also kind of originality. And I think that you guys kind of offer something that I hadn't heard a lot of, and it's kind of like this really heavy kind of pummeling kind of really, it's really kind of, to me, was a bit more than just straightforward heaviness. You guys offered a little bit of variety in there, and then kind of with your lyrics and stuff, I could kind of read a lot of what you were saying behind the scenes too. So I thought that was cool. It kind of seemed to me like a really smart record, and I like that. So before we get into it, talk a little bit about how you guys feel you've progressed since the debut kind of to the sophomore now. How have you guys kind of grown since that time as a band?
Well, I mean, quite a bit. It's been a process. We lost our drummer from that album. Unfortunately, he passed away last year, and he was a good dude, and he had his issues. But we ended out going through one other drummer, and then meeting our current drummer, Rom Gov, and he just put a whole new perspective on professionalism and bringing tightness to the group, and he really helped us focus and just took our time with this next one, and which really made the difference. And that's really what it came down to. It was just taking our time, putting our heart into it, and writing the best material that we could. That meant something to us,
right?
You know what I mean? Because I think if it doesn't mean something to you when you're writing it, when you perform it, then it's not going to mean anything to other people.
For
as well.
sure,
It's going to come through,
Yeah, you got to feel it.
Yeah, and so with Rom on board with us, it created a whole new foundation, a whole new level, and it's a good example is a friend David from Cerebral Desecration. I mean, he always told me, he's like,
David Machado.
Yes, sir. And they're actually playing tonight over there at Come and Take It. I was like, damn, I didn't realize they were playing tonight. Shout out to Cerebral Desecration, one of my favorite bands from San Marcos. He was like, I remember we played our first show with Rom, and he's like, man, y'all are on a completely different level. And
David said that.
Yeah, and he's like, that's who you need, is somebody's going to take you to a new level. And that's what Rom did.
Right.
And his brother, Kafir Gov, of him and Rom own Evil Snell Studios. And his brother is the one who helped record, produce, and mix the album. And he also gave us a lot of creative, advice and criticism.
I mean, he produced the album, and he stepped in as a producer, he came in and, not with every single track, but, when we get done with three songs or so, we'd invite him in and we'd play them for him, and then he would give us feedback, and, we would take it or leave it, and we took some of it, and, some of it we left, but, he was hands-on from the get-go, super great to work with.
Was that guy's in San Marcos?
What's it? The studio's in Manchaca, Texas. So,
okay.
Right. It's Austin, but if you look it up, that's where you'll find it. But
okay.
he really helped. The team, those two as a team, really work well together, and
So, Kafir, Rom's brother, he helped bring the album to a whole new level. Even every single song,
right?
There's parts where he's like, I believe, for instance, Zero Bullshit, there's a part he's like, there needs to be more lyrics on these sections.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, I don't want to do that, but I took his advice, and I'm very, what's the word?
Stubborn.
Thank you. And like my mom would say, that goal.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
I'm half Mexican, so it's I know some of it here and there. And I know all the bad ones, but stubborn. I was very stubborn, and that's how I am as a human being. And that's funny.
Well, that's the thing, though. That's what a producer does. That's why when I talk about people who record bands, there's guys who are I talked about Clifton Miles, who's an engineer. He's technically recording you. Then you have a guy who's a producer who can listen to your music and then help you develop it. Producers are former musicians or guitar players or singers, and they're songwriters, and they can help you develop your music. Now, whether you want to implement their stuff or not, that's up to you. But I always think that to really give that stuff strong consideration, because sometimes you we were talking earlier, you hear your music so much, sometimes you just kind of get burnt out on it, or you're too close to the painting and you can't really see other kind of options for the music or directions for it. And then sometimes it's just out of pure fucking stubbornness, or what's even worse than that, bro, is pride. Sometimes people just don't want, don't fuck with my music, it's my music.
Yeah.
And they have too much pride. And then you have the dudes who do both. They're engineers and producers. And those are the special guys, So, yeah, man. I mean, I'm glad that you, took some of, you were open to some of that.
Well, that's why that album's so amazing.
That's why I love it too. So yeah, you made some great choices. So we kind of inadvertently started talking about the new record.
Yeah.
So all you people out there, after the interview tonight, be sure to go on your favorite music media outlet and look for this CD. Go ahead and check out the title and the cover page. It is called Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult. It came out digitally on May the 13th. Is that right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's cool. I mean, it's out everywhere. What's kind of been the reception to this new CD?
Oh, he's asking me.
Obviously,
Sorry.
pretty fucking good. You're on Rob's.
Yeah, I was like,
it's going good.
there
It's
you go.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, everybody loves the quality of it. I mean, the songs are just front to back. I mean, we put our heart and soul in everything. I mean, and that's like I was talking about being stubborn and creative team. I mean, we as a band have like a good chemistry, and you can tell just by the album, and just all in all, it's just a beautiful album, and I'm so proud of it.
And I know you kind of alluded to the fact that, hey, there's 10 tracks on this release, and you kind of said, Rob, the pandemic kind of helped with that because it kind of delayed. Was the plan originally to do like an EP, or was it always kind of like something like a full length like this?
Well, it was a full length right out of the gate. I mean, we kind of went back and forth for a while.
Yeah, because bands are doing EPs, but I don't know. I can kind of see both sides of the card.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that say singles are the way to go.
Yeah.
And all that. I mean, I get that, and I support that as well, man. But I'm still an album dude. Like I like listening to whole albums, and I don't know what we're gonna do next. We're already working on new material, but for this one, we kind of went back and forth on how many songs we were gonna put in it. We obviously had some time on our hands to write and work things out, but we just got to the end of it, and we just kind of knew that was it. I mean, so yeah, we're really proud of it, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
I think they will, and I think just sometimes I think as music fans, all of us, me and the people who watch the show, and you guys, there's just so much stuff out there. Sometimes you just kind of get inundated with it, but I think I agree with you, Matt. I'm one of those people. I'm old school, so I want to hear a record and put it on and know that I'm jamming to Stitched Up for the next fucking hour, and just listening to it and listening to it over and catching things maybe that I didn't catch before. But yeah, great release. And we talked about the digital release coming out on May the 13th, but I was told tonight I'm one of the first people to have this nice little jewel case hard copy. When will people be able to pick this up too? And where can they get this at your shows already?
Yeah, so we have a limited edition of those right now. But
thank you for bringing me one.
You're welcome. But we will have more. The official release will be August 26th.
Okay. So far after, or far before, or a little bit after people watch this interview.
Yeah. But if you want to snag one, you can find them at the show. Wherever we're playing, we'll have some.
Nice.
We'll have some on hand. But August 26th will be the official release.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I'm one of those people that I love hard copy stuff. And let me tell you a little secret. I have a laptop, right? This old laptop. They don't make laptops with disk drives anymore, do they? They don't, right?
In cars.
Even your laptop.
Yeah.
Like I have a laptop that has a CD or a CD drive on it. So I have iTunes on it. So like, let's say I get a CD from somebody, I can put the CD in my laptop and it uploads it into my iTunes. It digitizes it into my fucking iTunes. But they don't sell laptops with CD drives anymore, do they?
No,
I don't see any.
I got a laptop myself, and I can't even burn the CDs
No,
anymore. I'm like,
yeah, you can't do that anymore.
yeah.
So, like, even if I get a hard copy from somebody, I can still upload it into my iTunes. And, that's why I'm trying to... That laptop's just about to die, too. It's, like, old as fuck, but I'm keeping it alive. But, yeah, man, I still love... As you can see, I have CDs all over the place. I love CDs, and I love to look at the artwork and read the lyrics and stuff like that. So, on that note, we alluded to some of the song titles earlier. Let's talk a little bit about the lyrical content of this record real quick, man.
Okay.
Because we love the brutality, but also, I love to, and I kind of said earlier, you guys have a lot of, like, really kind of sassy things going on with your lyrics. And, was it yesterday or today that you released a video promo for Goatfucker? Goatfucker's one of the songs on this record.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about Goatfucker, and let's talk more about David Carradine and Necromantis and all this cool stuff. And Brujas, slowly they burn. I remember when I got the CD, I was like, Brujas. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I don't hear that word very often.
Oh, yeah. Well, Goatfucker was originally titled Godfucker, and, like, everybody's like, that was a terrible name. Matt
talked you out of it, right? Come on, dude.
Well, he made it worse. He was like, what about Goatfucker? And then our drummer Rom was like, it has to be Goatfucker. That's the song. And then Matt was like, I don't want it to be Goatfucker. That's stupid. And I was like,
I don't know.
You fucked up, man. And it's Goatfucker now. And that's how it became Goatfucker on that one.
I'm learning to keep my mouth shut sometimes.
How can you argue with this guy?
Hey, I'll say this much: it's working on me. Like it's becoming more familiar. I'm falling in love with it, man.
You know what? One of my favorite songs, really, Gravity Kills.
Oh,
that's one of my favorite songs on the record. And I don't hear you guys talk about it or mention it or anything, but I remember when I was jamming the record, I was listening to it and I didn't know all the songs yet, but I'm like, oh man, I like that song. I played it again. Then I finally looked at what the title was. It was Gravity Kills.
Yeah, that one. Like with us, with our writing process, sometimes if I have something in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking like Sepultura, like Territory. And I was telling Ron, I was like, man, do some tribal shit. And I was like, just go,
yeah,
brah, brah, brah. And then, like, I mean, if Ron was here, he would be like, yeah, sure. And then that's my interpretation of that. And I went with the bass on it, and it just came to light somehow. How'd you come with the guitar part? You just made it up on the spot, right?
Yeah, man. So a lot of the stuff
I wrote that riff when I was 15.
Nailed it, man. No, I mean, some of the stuff we write in the room together, and, some of the stuff we just bring in.
For sure.
And that was one that I'd worked on a majority of it at the house, like a week or so prior. I just started writing riffs that sounded great together, and I brought it in and then bounced it off Rom, and everybody clicked on it, and we started writing, and I think we ended out, like, Rom and Chris really help, like, organize stuff sometimes, because I'll see it a certain way. I'll be like, I wrote these riffs, they sound really good like this, and then we'll just reorganize it in the room. And we actually ended out, I think, writing the breakdown together in the room, and then Chris came in next rehearsal with some amazing lyrics. And
yeah, and I told him, I was like, that riff is cool and all, but it's not started with the song. No, I was kidding. Because it starts with the drums and bass straight up, and then the guitar just comes in, smashing it.
I think too, I was remiss not to say this, and I've been thinking about it when you talked about how kind of Rom brought the band to a new level. And, I think sometimes we, people outside of music or non-musicians don't realize how important drummers are.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you kind of think, the drummers are the guy in the back, they're not as important as the guitar player, the singer, but drummers are so fucking important. And, I've been doing this for a long time, and it took me a while, and I learned this many years ago now, but yeah, drummers are so important. So like, you could have a cool riff and then have your drummer really, really bring it to life when you're fucking jamming it with him.
Yeah, like, I was like, when you listen to it front to back, like, you can hear all these other bands and drummers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm proud to have had Rom be a part of my life, our life, because like if you listen to it front to back, every song, every drum style of every song is completely different. And yeah, it's brutal and stuff, but from other drummers that I always hear Rom sit down and talk with, it's just, I mean, that's what he does for a living. And he's a teacher of it as well.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, just every little thing he does on it. I mean, most of the songs, he's such a good drummer that most of the songs on this album, he did in one take.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really cool. And let's go ahead and talk about the fact that I think this release now is going to get more momentum behind it than anything you guys have ever done now, because you were telling me off camera, Rob, we're kind of working with a promotional company now, and you know, I'm well connected with and networked with many of these guys, many of these publicists all over the country. Talk a little bit about your promotional, the promotional guy you're working with, and kind of what the expectation is and what's going to be happening in support of Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult.
Well, we're working with C Squared, with Curtis Dewar, I believe his last name. And it's our first time working with him. Basically, we're just we didn't organize it so that it coincided with our digital release. It was kind of an afterthought, you know.
Sure.
A friend of ours, Skunk from A Good Rogering, kind of introduced us, and we decided to run with it for the hard copy release. And, you know, it's our first time working with a promotion company of this stature, I guess. So it's a little new to us, but, you know, he's going to push the album for us, and, you know, it'll be a learning experience for us, but it's also, you know, it's pretty chill. I'm excited to see, you know, go through the whole process.
You should be excited, and let me tell you something. I think you guys made a good choice, you know, to get connected with someone like that. You know, whatever it's costing the band or whatever you have to do to make it happen, because these guys are, you know, people like Curtis or, you know, Maria Ferraro or Amy Scorado or any of these publicists all over the country, wherever they are, in California, Chicago, New York, whatever, Jersey, you know, they're all networked with magazines and fanzines and video shows like Rob's MetalWorks all over the country. So the great thing is that, you know, what you're getting in return is that your music is getting out there. You're going to get publicity. You're going to get interviews. And, you know, not that they're all going to be in person like this, but whatever it is, Zoom or magazine or whatever, the opportunity and the doors are opening to support your music. And that's the thing, man. I mean, marketing is such a very important component of what any band does on the back end. I remember back in the early days of Rob's, and we were on TV, you know, this was before social media and even before the internet and YouTube. And when my crew and I would go out to shows, like to go see Hatebreed or something, I would get a stack of flyers for a show that would promote, like, watch Rob's on Stuff TV on Fridays at midnight. And what I used to tell my crew, it's the same concept. I used to tell my crew, look, we could fucking interview James Hetfield of Metallica. I said, but if nobody watches it, what the fuck did we do it for? Same thing, man. I mean, all the hard work that you put into your music and all the time and money that you spent in recording it and all that, you know, why the fuck are you going to do it if no one's going to fucking listen to it? And that's what these dudes do, is that they help get your music out there so that people can hear it, and that you can get the press so that people can see the press and then want to pick up your music and hear it. So great move. Thanks. I think that's a great move. And I get Curtis's stuff all the time. So Curtis, if you're watching, I'm one of the guys that gets all your press releases, and I can't wait to start receiving the stuff from Stitched Up. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that how tonight's interview really kind of is a cool thing, because we were supposed to interview like 4 years ago, and that didn't happen. You guys had to refresh my memory because let's talk a little bit about that for the people out there who don't remember it. And I think it's important too because we were supposed to interview at the Memorial Day Metal Fest.
Yes.
And the Memorial Day Metal Fest starts tomorrow.
Well, tonight actually.
Oh, it's tonight. Yeah. Sorry. So share that little story for the people out there. I think it's cool. It's a cool story.
So I mean, we were very excited. This is going to be originally our first ever interview.
In 2018, that was with the first record. It would have been in support of the first record.
Yeah. And
so that's not to say that you wouldn't be here tonight. I probably would have already known you guys. And, back then you guys were probably a little crazier. True? True or no? Or y'all are already good?
We're probably crazier now, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now we're lethal.
Oh, God.
So before that even happened, we had a fallout with our old bandmate. So it all just like fell apart in a very bad way, unfortunately. And
you guys didn't play that night.
Yeah, we set up on stage, said hi, and then we broke down on stage, and then we were like, oh man, I felt bad for Rob. Like he was probably looking around. He's like,
where's the fucking stitched up guys?
Like,
I was like,
never again.
Thomas, make a note. We're never fucking talking to the stitched up guys again. Fuck those dudes.
It happens. I mean, in our
come on.
Yeah, our old drummer. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
We loved
Alan.
the guy, but it was hilarious the way he left because he flicked off everybody in San Antonio, including every promoter. I was like, and everybody was like,
flicked off Matt Lauterbach and everybody.
All of them.
Oh God!
But he was nice enough to have us back on later on. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys another chance. So he was cool enough to.
Matt Lauterbach is like, that fucker's crazy too, but he's one of the coolest fucking dudes. And one of the things that I love about Matt Lauterbach is that he really loves the music scene and he really believes in what he's doing. And that fucker is dedicated and passionate about Focus Star Media, his company.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Dude.
Him and Brandon.
Totally,
sure.
yeah, totally legit and hardcore, those fucking guys. Sometimes they're a little too dramatic for me, but the drama is just a reflection of the passion.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those guys are cool. I love Matt Lauterbach, and hopefully I'll get to see him this weekend. Yeah,
there's a lot of good bands this weekend. I know tonight some homies from Count Your Dead and 13 are going to be there. I know this weekend we got Gray Feather, Raft Tongue, Hijo de Puta, and amongst many other awesome bands. And those are our homies right there. San Marcos, and that's like one of our main places we play at. And we're going to be doing some San Antonio shows later on this year. So there's a lot of cool shit coming on the way this year. But yeah, shout out to Matt Lauterbach and Brandon for keeping the scene alive and stuff. I know I think it's awesome that they do this every year for the veterans and all that stuff as well.
Yeah. Okay, guys, as we near the end of this interview, just a couple of other things. We were talking about videos earlier, and maybe that you guys had some video work coming out or it will soon come out. I saw the promo for Goat Whore. So talk a little, Goatfucker.
Yeah, it's close. The same thing.
Close enough.
That's a PG version.
Talk a little bit about what people can expect from the Goatfucker promo and any other video work that you guys want to do.
So when was Goatfucker being released again, Matt?
Should be this Monday.
Wow.
Monday.
Yeah.
So by the time people see this, it should be out.
Yeah, it'll be out.
Yeah, so Goatfucker, I always, a huge influence of mine was White Zombie as...
Wow, cool.
Yeah, especially with bass playing, Sean Assault.
Yep.
And definitely Rob Zombie, White Zombie, Ministry, old classic horror movies and stuff like that. For Goatfucker, I used images from the movie Haxan, and as well as the movie Begotten. And after this music video, we also have another music video for Necromantis.
Would you guys be in the videos?
Well, the second one we are.
All right, cool.
These are bootleg music videos, but I love them.
Hey.
And
underground. It's all underground.
Yeah.
I love underground shit, man. The underground is like where it's at, bro. I mean, and nowadays, even nowadays, you can call it underground, but still, I mean, you can do with the capabilities technologically that we have, and with the internet. I mean, it can be something pretty big, not just underground.
Yeah. I'm very proud of just.
Do you do that work yourself?
Yes.
Chris? Oh, that's cool, man.
All on my phone.
No way.
Yes.
Wow.
That's the secret. That's where we are in the year 2022. Music
Wow.
videos have gone from giant stadiums to now a phone.
Yeah, well, there's like applications like Movie and stuff like that. Is that what you use, Movie? Or?
Can't tell that secret.
Yeah, don't tell us the secret. That's the only one I know about. But yeah, that's cool, man. I can't wait to see it. You know, digital stuff is beautiful because the quality's still there and things like that. So
yeah, I'm a old school filthy music video. I like to. That's what I loved about, like, I mean, there's digital that works well for certain things, but like for us with our style, I mean, we'll eventually have one of those nice, beautiful 4K videos. But with me, I'm just like an old school like horror fan, and
yeah.
I love the nasty reels on them, and it's an expression of the music video as part of the music as well, because our music in general, I like it just dirty and filthy, and you know, same with the guitars, you know.
Well, and you know, our music's kind of visual, I mean, so to speak, I guess, but the videos really kind of do capture, you know, an essence of what's going on with the lyrics and everything like that. Definitely embodies kind of the energy of the song. So he does a good job. Like, you know, pretty.
I want to see you guys play though. I want to see a video with you guys playing.
That's next.
That's
if you guys need a lead on a fucking good guy to shoot a video, like a live performance video, let me know.
Oh yeah.
There's a guy in San Antonio. You might know him. His name's Ruben Alvarez. He
sounds very familiar.
He's the guitar player for Upon a Burning Body.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, he has a side gig where his company's called Relative Media, I think.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot. He did the Cerebral video.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great, dude, and he's very like economical. So you could get like something high quality from him. And of course, you know, depending on whether you're gonna do like theatrics or a script, like kind of the Cerebral guys did, or you're gonna do something straight up like performance-wise, of course that's gonna affect the cost. But I'd love to see a performance video from you guys.
Yeah, the next one does.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. So you want to do it for Necromantis?
Well, no, I'm not sure. We haven't.
Do it for Gravity Kills, man.
That's
do it for my jam.
Actually, what I was thinking.
But, do it for my jam.
But yeah, I mean, there's some old live footage in Necromantis spliced in with the killer stuff that he does on his telephone.
Let's really quick. I want to talk about the cover work here on the Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult. And we didn't talk about the title. And that's probably one of the first things I should have talked about. But, you know, I get so wrapped up in learning more about the band. But talk a little bit about the title of Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult and how it kind of relates into this weird kind of planetary watcher type of artwork here. I love it.
So
it made me look at it and go like,
oh, they got to wait.
Oof,
you got it.
This is scary.
I mean,
there's the Watcher, right?
Yeah. Or it's like so we got the artwork from a guy from Instagram, Neo Sabbath. He did the front and back, and as well as the artwork on the inside, which you're actually going to be the first one to see it technically.
I'm not going to open my shit. I don't want to open it. I really don't.
Well, then you can, we got the album title. I'm a huge nerd, and I mean, all three of us in the band listen to all types of different music.
Yep.
Like me, I love Wu-Tang Clan to Kendrick Lamar to ICP, Pantera, White Zombie,
great,
like
man.
Gojira Macedon. David Bowie definitely is a huge influence on me musically and lyrically and all that stuff. So Jupiter Jazz came from anime Cowboy Bebop 2-piece episode, and then the Suicide Cult I thought sounded pretty awesome. And I just put those two together because of like David Bowie's I'm gonna mess it up, Ziggy Stardust, Rise and Fall of Spiders. Sorry about that, I already ruined the title. But yeah, that style he would write the album titles was a huge influence on me with that title. And Jupiter being the planet with the heaviest gravity, felt fitting for like a heavy album. You're gonna put a planet on there, make a Jupiter. It's the heaviest album.
That's
you won't be able to
heavy.
survive the gravity of it.
Gravity of it.
And then you got like Gravity Kills in there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, and then his son, James MacMorran, also did keys on the album for Mars, as
What?
well as he did some of the
Whoa,
artwork
wow.
on the inside as well.
Wow.
So,
Your son's a musician, or what?
Yeah. He's he did all the singles we released while we were recording this. He did all the artwork for the singles, and some of the artwork on the inside. But yeah,
I didn't know that. I would have talked about that, man. Thanks for. I'm glad that came out. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, he's a musician. I mean, I guess takes after me, and he's amazing, way better than I was at his
Of course,
age.
dude. The kids have our kids have like so many more tools than what we had, right?
Yeah. And I mean, so we only thought it would be fitting for him to put keys on there, and
Wow.
so-
How old is your son, if you don't mind me asking?
He'll be 19. No, he
That's
just
cool,
he
yeah.
just turned 19. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
I told you guys earlier, but I have a 24-year-old son who lives in Austin. Yeah. He's a software developer for Charles Schwab.
Damn,
And
all right.
he's living the life up in Austin somewhere, living the dream.
so yeah, the last song on the album Mars is like, it's also one of the last songs we wrote with our old drummer Alan. And
okay.
we still had this song, and I mean, Rom took it to a whole new level. But even then, with the song, when we wrote it, we were like, this and that. I was like, no, you gotta wait. We're gonna have the samples in it, and we put the samples using clips, using the Jonestown massacre.
Yeah.
So you'll hear Mr. Jones. I'm already screwed up his name. Sorry.
Yeah. I know. But I know what you're talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
Some people out there may not know, but look it up. That was the Jonestown. This religious cult leader had all his followers, like hundreds of people, drink poisonous Kool-Aid, and they all fucking died. It was crazy. That's crazy. But you know what I was thinking? I was thinking about the real UFO cult. Remember
Yeah.
those guys?
Yeah.
What was that? Forgot that fucking guy's name.
Yes.
And his followers also, that they were supposed to go up in a UFO, and they all Heaven's Gate. Thank you, Thomas.
Gate. And,
Heaven's
yeah.
Gate.
And that's another influence from Cowboy Bebop.
Wow,
as well.
that's cool. I'm glad you mentioned the samples.
Yes.
And I was remiss not to mention that too, because I remember thinking earlier today when I was jamming the record and getting ready for this interview, I was like, man, these dudes have some great samples in all these songs. Talk about some of the other ones.
So some of the other ones, David Carradine. We use David Carradine from 2000's Death Race, and
I love that movie.
Yeah.
God.
Sylvester Stallone's in it too.
Wow. Yeah, dude. Wow.
This is old school.
Old school.
I love the Grindhouse
They
movies.
had the
and
helmets
stuff.
on and shit. Yeah, cool.
And we had Goatfucker also using a clip from The Twilight Zone, The Howling Man.
Yeah.
And within that, one of the actors who's in it is actually David Carradine's father, which I didn't know till like later on when I was looking into it. I was like, oh shoot! And I'm a huge Twilight Zone fan, and yeah. So, but definitely that Mars one is like what really pulled it together, and what put the final touch on it was his son James putting the keys on it. And little known fact about that last song is that you'll hear a ghost tape at the very end of a song from the Phonics called I'm Sorry. And it's playing slowly, and at the end, everybody's dead, and it's legit. You'll hear babies crying and all this craziness.
Wow.
But, like, if you hear the Phonics I'm Sorry, it's like, to me, because everything I write lyrically is very personal and honest. And this album's about being away from your loved ones through addictions, suicides. I mean, I lost a lot of people. We all lost a lot of people during our time, and just not being there for them, especially during the pandemic. You would not be able to see people from the other side of the world. And so many people lost through drug addictions and all kinds of stuff. And at the last song being I'm Sorry from the Phonics, it's like me saying I'm sorry. And it's a fitting piece to that, as well as after you listen to the whole album, I think it's cool if you listen to the group Delphonics or the Delphonics, I'm Sorry, after the album, and then it's like the final touch. It's
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you for putting it all together for me, and for all the people out there who are going to listen to it. That's very cool, and that's pretty fucking deep. And I'm sure we could talk a whole lot about, you know, the trying times that we live in, and you know, it seems like mental health is a big issue these days, and rightfully so, because you know, you're right, we lost so many people, and people maybe that we haven't even lost, they're not dead yet, but they're way out there, and you know, fucking substance abuse or alcoholism. And you know, we lost Trevor Strand, you know, from Dahlia, and the dude from the Foo Fighters, Taylor Hawkins. You know, and just people are just medicating because they're hurting or they feel lonely, and it's a crazy time, man. It's a crazy time.
Yeah, I mean, it's like family members I've lost through addiction, suicide, and that's like David Carradine. It's like, yeah, there's this David Carradine, the song, like he died in a hotel room, and it's like people don't know a person until they're dead, and you're like, what happened? Why did it happen? Why did they go out this way?
I always think about Chris Cornell, because Chris Cornell, like, fuck.
Chester Bennington.
Oh, God.
I mean, Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, dude.
Yeah, like
Crazy.
It's a long list. I mean, I had an uncle I was very close with musically as well.
Yeah, we're just talking about famous people, but
yeah,
what about all the regular people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and I mean, in our eyes, like, family are like way more famous than people you see on TV.
Sure.
And I had an uncle who I saw one day. I mean, he got me into Beavis and Butthead, Pantera, and all that stuff. And he was a huge Megadeth fan as well. And one day I went to go see Korn for the first time. I was all excited. He's like, yeah, mijo, like, it's gonna be like, I'm so jealous, you fucking asshole, and all this stuff. Pardon my language. But yeah, and then the next day I found out he committed suicide. So it's like, you never know until like someone's gone how much they really need you.
Right. Or how much they're hurting.
I mean, it's like nowadays you got people who hold grudges, who have hatred, but on the inside we're all just asking for help and a hug every once in a while. So I mean, that's like, you see a stranger on the street, don't be afraid to be like, hey, you know, thank you, goodbye. It's a waste of energy to have negativity, especially nowadays.
I totally agree with you. Well said, Chris. Well said.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Now, guys, before we end out, I want to talk about, we're in the middle of 2022. So what do you guys have planned for the rest of this year? Either kind of doing shows, or maybe even doing little tours, or new music?
A little bit of everything.
Okay, so let's first talk about the shows.
So we got a show July 1st. It's still getting worked up on over there in Taylor, Texas. And then we got some other shows planned, possibly maybe something in San Marcos in July, as well as August. We got some shows here and there. And it's kind of, right now we're focused on the album. And everybody's taking a little vacation right now. Like, our drummer's currently in Israel visiting his family. He's going to go to Scotland to become a Highlander.
What the fuck? Highlander?
Yeah, he's going to meet
You're going to have a sword and shit? Don't cut off my head, bro.
It's going to be bigger than him.
Wow, that's crazy.
That Mel Gibson one.
We're going to get into that after we stop here.
Yeah, so...
I want to know about that shit.
That's where he was born.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. He wasn't born here.
But Matt, you are like a big dude, man. I mean, if you had a sword, you'd be kind of scary.
Throw some Scottish accent. Okay. But yeah, so and then we're just focused more on the promoting the album right now, and then getting towards the hard copies, and then hopefully trying to get the hard copies out to record stores as well, all over Texas. And I believe we'll have some
hit up Hogwild Records here in San Antonio.
I will.
That's the place to do it.
Heck yeah. So, and then towards the end of the year, we've already had this album written for a minute.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing. Like, you guys are probably already like tired of this shit and like want to move on, and it's new to to the public. And I always tell, one of the things that, I always tell bands, like, man, like, don't jump too far ahead. Let the public catch up, too, because, it might be old to you, but it's new to the public. And, like, still, this record just dropped, and you guys are already wanting to get new shit out.
Yeah, it's like Gravity Kills. We should play it more now. Because
Yeah,
everybody,
for sure.
that's like one of the songs everybody's like, Gravity Kills. But yeah, we already got new material going towards the third album, and we're gonna definitely record at the same place.
Oh, okay.
Evil Snell Studios.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that next album, it's completely different.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's like with me, I like to just throw whatever out there and just like, I mean, we're always just like, let's do this, let's do that. So I mean, two of the songs, I mean, one of them is like a lot of blast beats, just all over the place. It's epic as hell.
So, like, just real quick, like for this one, kind of Rom came in and it was mostly all kind of already done, or what I'm saying is now that with the new music, now that Rom's been a part of the band for a while, he's kind of more involved.
Well, so we only really had two songs kind of laid out when Rom came in.
Okay.
They weren't 100% complete. They were pretty close to it, though. And everything else we wrote with Rom. Him. Yeah, so.
But I would say, too, like, now that you've been with him for a little bit longer, you guys are gelling better.
Oh, yeah. For sure, yeah.
For sure.
And the new stuff that we're coming up with, we're definitely stoked, for that as well. So, just try to hit it harder than before, you know what I mean?
When would you like the new Stitched Up record to come out? Ideally. I mean, not
this year. No, just kidding. Like, but you gotta promote. Ideally, I mean, we're talking about actually starting to record later in the fall time. At least get a single out.
Sure.
Late fall, and then possibly the year after or the year after that. It just depends where we're going. I mean, this album, we don't know where it's going to take us.
Yeah.
So, definitely, it's going to be interesting. I mean, the titles are going to be pretty interesting.
Cool. I can't wait because, Chris, I can tell you have a sick mind. And I kind of like it.
Rom's even worse. He's the worst one of all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've seen video of Rom. He looks pretty fucking cool behind that kit, man. I wish you would have been here. Rom, we'll get you next time, my brother. Gentlemen, as we end out, first of all, let me say thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for driving up here from the Capitol to spend an evening with me. I really wanted to promote this record. I jammed this record, and I like it. And that's why you're on our program. So as we end out, I think we covered a lot of content tonight. I would just like for each of you to share anything that we missed, any shout outs, any thank you to family and friends, business people. So either one of you go first, and then we'll end out.
Well, I mean, definitely appreciate everything that Kafir and everybody at Evil Snell Studios has done, and Rom for stepping in for us.
Sure.
And, certainly our families,
for their sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean they're supportive, man, and that's everything. I mean, we're always family first. Anything that comes up,
that's cool, bro.
I mean, that's how you got to be. And my son for doing, taking his time and having passion for this, even though he didn't have to,
For sure.
And everybody who supported us along the way, all our homies in these other bands that we go throw down with, man, they're all really killer dudes, and
Worm Suicide and Wrath Tongue. Wow.
Both, like all these guys out there, man. The scene is alive, man. The metal out there is really good. I mean.
So, definitely how you said it.
Tell these people, Chris, over here.
And to you, right there, on that couch, on that toilet, driving. You make it possible for me to wake up every day. I'm sorry. I'm nervous now. No, I'm just kidding. But shout out to all the bands in Texas for sure. I mean, there's so many bands that are coming out that people don't know of. I mean, we want straight up shout out to the 78666, and we got some homies out there at the Know What Fest in Dallas today. Hate Waker, we got Forget Conformity from Dallas. I mean, Warm Suicide's one of my favorite bands. They've been around the scene for over 20 years now.
Wow.
Showing us how it's done. Shout out to San Antonio, and definitely you, man. And like I was saying off camera, like, you leave behind a history of the Texas music scene. It's glorious, and thank you so much, Rob, for having us on. And you're a
part of it now, my friend.
Yeah, man, and we'll definitely do it on the next album too.
For sure. Now that I know you guys, and I'm gonna say something too. Tonight before we started recording, each of you were transparent enough to share with me and say, Rob, I don't do that anymore. This is how I live my life now. And I think that's so beautiful, man, that as human beings, you can realize things that could harm you in your future, and that you're smart enough and wise enough, and that you love yourself enough to stop doing crazy shit, because how many people do we know who couldn't do that? And then we see their demise, and we talked about famous people, and we talked about, like your drummer and stuff like that. So I just want to say that I think both of you are strong, beautiful fucking artists, and I respect you for fucking having the wisdom and the self-love to do those things, man. Not only for yourself, we talk about self-love because I do believe that you have to love yourself, but also to also think about the people around you, your family, your kids, and to think about that, how wonderful this life can be, even though our world is a very scary, precarious place these days, but still, we want to be alive, and we want to continue to give, and we all have our own little ways that we contribute to our music scene, because the heavy metal music scene is what we've chose to give our lives to, whether you're a musician or whether you're a journalist or whatever, but that we find meaning and beauty in that, and that drives us to be and to continue to live. So thank you so much, both of you, for sharing that. I really appreciate that. You don't realize it. It really touched me tonight.
Well, I appreciate it, man, because I grew up with, it was just me and my mom, Section 8 apartments, and living in the ghetto shithole in Corpus, and she did a lot, and she was like a huge example for me. And like with my family, my background, like everybody in my family has been in and out of jail, and people I loved and brothers and all that stuff are in the system, and our music is just about liberation and just being free and being happy, even though it sounds dark as fuck, because we got songs like Goatfucker and so it's like living to be an example. And it's like, I remember going through a rehab program, and they asked me a one-on-one, the owner of the rehab place, she was like, so what do you like about life? And I told her I love being alive, because there's so much great things in this world that people don't ever look outside and inhale it, rather than taking in the negativity.
They just take it for granted, bro. I think we just take life for granted sometimes.
I mean, I'm excited to see Rammstein in September finally.
I tell my chick, I said, honey, we live a good fucking life. We live a good fucking life, and don't ever, let's be appreciative of it. We can do whatever we want. And sometimes people don't realize the gifts that they have, even though they may be suffering. I mean, they don't realize that. I said, look at the positive shit in your life. Don't look at the fucking negative shit. Look at the positive shit. And, I don't want to take us down a dark road, but, mental health and the way that you perceive what we're doing every day, like day to day, is so important.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, darkness is a beautiful thing. I mean, we would never be who we are or where we're at if this band was never formed,
Exactly.
Well, I mean, just to touch a little based on what you're saying, I mean, there are people you could talk to,
Yeah.
Whether it's somebody in your family or a friend, people just, they need to not be afraid to try to reach out. That can be a hard thing to do, is to reach out and tell somebody you're vulnerable and how you feel and things like that. But you can't get well until, you do
You put that fucking pride aside.
Yeah, exactly, man.
For sure.
And the light on the other side is great. You know what I mean?
Sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with the people like we surround ourselves. I mean, that's why I tell people, you gotta, if you want a good life, surround yourself with good people. You know,
sure.
and then it spreads out. You can't just help somebody across the world if you can't even help yourself, or you're even your brother. You know, but and that's the whole point of the music community or the metal community or every style of genre is like we're all in it together. You know, so it's the best thing you can do is support each other. You know, fuck all the negative bullshit. You know.
And tonight, guys, is a great reflection of that. Thank you so much for everything that you have given and shared in this interview. All you people out there, remember, the latest from the band is called Jupiter Jazz and the Suicide Cult. You saw the band stitched up from Austin right here on Rob's MetalWorks.